Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video we are going to learn how we can create this dynamic form in our Laravel and React project, where you can add more rows, you can delete, you can also attach a file, and you can add as many fields as you want. For example, in here I have added 3 rows. If I delete 2 of them, the last one, the delete would be disabled. Let's see how we can build this in our Laravel backend first. Then we will go and build the front end and the React. So let's go to our VS Code and build this. So let's go to our Laravel project in here. So let's go to backend, and in here I already created the migration file. If I come here and select the products migration, you guys can see I have already added these columns in my database table, and also I have an attachment. So the migration is done. Now let's go and create the controller. So let's go to app http controller, and in the products controller in here let's create a new method by typing public function, and let's give them a store name, then request $request, and inside here let's create a loop because we are going to get our data as an array. So let's type for each $request products as $product data. Then inside our for each loop we will create a new product. So let's create first of all let's create a new variable, then set it to new products, and let's set product. Actually, let's copy all the fields names from the migration. It will be much simpler. So let's copy name, quantity, buying price, selling, description, image path, and weight. Let's copy all of them, and in here let's paste them. So let's type product name, and all of them would be equal to $product data and their name. So let's remove the image because we don't want image in here, and description and weight, they can be nullable. So let's type in here null, and for the image let's type a if condition to check if the image is available. So let's type if is set $product data image. If image is available, then in that case $path is equal to $product data of image, and store it inside our storage folder, public folder. So let's type store images products, and inside the public of a storage folder, then set the product image path to $path. Now let's save everything and return our response. So let's say product save, and after the for each loops let's return response. So let's type return response JSON array, and send a message that the product has been added successfully. So products added successfully. So our controller is done. We have created a for each loop, and also we have checked for the image. If it's available, then it will store it inside our storage folder, public folder, images product folder. Then we will send a response. Now let's go and create a route for this, and let's go to inside our API. So routes api.php. In here I have products prefix. In here I will create a new route of type post and give him my URL of store, and the function is also store. So this is it for our Laravel part. Now let's go and create our front end and the React. So let's go to inside our front end project and the source, and then inside the page I will create a new file with the name of dynamic form.jsx. Let's create our default function in here. Let's change the name to product form, And in here, the first thing that I will do is create a new variable for my fields. So let's type const fields is equal to create an object for our fields. Let's copy them from here. So we have name, quantity, buying price, selling, description, weight, and we also have image. So it's image. Let's paste it here. Then let's set all of them by default empty strings except the image. We will set it to null. Now let's create an array to store all these fields inside that and the new items that we will add. So for that I'm going to create a new array. So let's call it product fields and set product fields. Now let's call our use state. So let's type use state and set it to empty. Set it to our fields. So let's copy it from here. Now let's go and create our input fields in here and set our body. So let's delete this one and in here create a new class with new div with the class name of container. So let's type container and let's give him a margin top of 4 as well. So it should have a margin on the top side. Then inside here let's create a div with the class name of card and another div for the card header, and let's add our text in here and say add products. Now after our card header we also have to create our card body so we can show our input fields. So let's create that as well. So now let's go and map through our fields and create input fields for them. So in here I'm going to write product fields dot map, and in here I also need the index. So I will type for the first parameter I will type product field and index. Then let's create an arrow function in here. Now inside here let's create a div with a class name of row. So I will type row and give them a margin bottom of 3, and also in the because we are using map, each item needs to have a unique key. So that's what I'm going to use the index. So in here let's type the key also. So key is equal to index. Now let's go and create a div for our input field. So this would be called made2, and inside here I will create an input field and the type should be text. Then let's add a class name also for this, and this is form control. Then name is equal to name. Also we have to add the value. So the value would be value is equal to, let's copy it from here, product dot name, and let's close this. Now let's copy this for our other fields also to save the time. So let's copy this one is for name, another one for quantity. So okay, so our form fields are finished. Now let's go to our browser. Let's refresh here. Now as you guys can see, I got all my fields: name, quantity, buying price, selling price, description, file, and weight. But this button, delete button and add new row is not here. Let's go and create our add new row button so we can add more fields inside our form. So let's go back to our VS Code. Let's scroll up, and inside my div body before my map, in here I will create a new div with a class name of mb3. So let's create this, and inside here I will create a button. The type is also button. Then let's give them a class name as well. So the class name would be btn set primary, and on click of this let's create an handler to handle adding new item inside our row. So let's type on click, and in here I will type handle add row. We will create this function later. Then let's give him a title also by the name of add product. Let's save this. Now let's go up and create our function to add new items inside our product fields. Now after my products fields array, in here I will create my function. So let's type const handle add row. Then in here I will set it to arrow function, and in here let's type set product field. So let's copy this here, and inside this an array. Then in here we will say keep the old values, so keep all product fields and add the fields. Now let's save everything from here. Let's go to our browser. Now the button is here. If I click, as you guys can see, it adds more. Now I want to delete also the rows, so maybe they are not needed. So let's go and create our delete row function also. So let's go to our VS Code, and after my handle add row, I will create a new function with the name of handle remove row. So let's type here const handle remove row and set it to an arrow function and index as a parameter. We will send it in our on click of remove button. Then inside here let's create a row variable and set it to our old values. So let's type const rows is equal to product fields. Then in here let's type rows dot splice index, the index that we will get 1. Then again let's set it back. So let's type set product fields is equal to set it to rows. Now let's copy the function name and scroll down and until our button. Now this is our button. In here let's type on click and arrow function. Then in here we will set it to handle remove row and we will send our index. Let's add one more thing, because if the user delete, it will delete all of them. So let's try. As you can see, all of them have been deleted. So what we are going to do is that when the user deletes and in here only one is remained, then it should be disabled. So let's go and take care of that also. So in here let's type disabled is equal to product fields dot length is equal to 1. So now if it's false, we can delete, but when it reached only one item, it will be disabled. So now let's go back in here. Let's add some items. Let's delete all of them. Now as you guys can see, I cannot delete it because the button has been disabled. So add, delete, nothing. So up to now we can add, delete, write our fields. Now let's go and create our submit button, so we can submit our form to our server and save our items with the attachment. So let's go back to our VS Code. So let's scroll up, and after the remove button, in here I will create a new function to handle the input value change. So let's type const handle input change is equal to arrow function with the index and event as a parameter. Then inside this I will create a new const with the name, value, type and files and set it to event dot target. So let's type, first of all let's add a equal here. Now one more const to hold my values. So I will type const rows is equal to my values, old values, so product fields. Now in here, because we are also sending the file, we need to check if it's file, then we have to get the index 0 of the file, the first item. Otherwise we will just set the index name to value. So let's go and check if it's files or not. So let's type in here if type is equal to file, then in that case set the rows index name to files is 0. Then after that Let's type else. For the else part, so we only need the rows index name is equal to value, the value that we will get. Now let's go and set it back to our product fields. So let's type in here set product fields to row. Now let's go to our input fields and add them on change of each input field. So we can call this function whenever our input fields change. So let's copy this from here and let's scroll down on my input name. In here I will type on change is equal to set it to event, and in here let's create an arrow function, then set it to handle change, then send the index and event. Now let's copy it to all of them. So let's copy this from here and so this is it. Now we have to also create a new function to handle the submit of our form. So let's go and create a form first, then we will create our function. So let's scroll up on top of our fields. In here let's create a new form. So let's type form, and on submit of this form let's type our function name handle submit. Then let's close this form and let's move all our products fields inside our form. Now let's go and create our handle submit function. So let's scroll the up, and in here let's create a new cons and handle submit function. Then let's type async. So we want this function to be async and event as a parameter. So as arrow function. Then let's disable the default functionality of our form by typing event.prevent default. Then after that let's create a new cons for our form data. So we have to send type cons form data is equal to new form data, and in here we have to attach or append all our fields to our form data. So for that let's create a for each. So let's type product fields dot for each product and index. Now let's append them. Let's type form data dot append, and in here I want to append products and array index. So in here I will type index index, then the name. So let's type in here our input field name and comma product dot name. Now let's do it same thing for all other fields also. So for all inputs it's finished, but except the image. For image we have to check if it's the type is image, then we have to add it. So let's type here a product dot image, then in that case let's add it here form data dot products index image is equal to product dot image. Now let's import our Axios because we need Axios to submit our form. So in here let's type import Axios from Axios. Now back, let's scroll down inside our function. In here let's create a try and catch block. So let's type try, then in the try block in here we will create a new const for the response and set it to wait. Then in here let's call our Axios dot our method type and our URL. So let's type our URL. For now this would be our URL. Now after typing the URL in the second parameter of our Axios, we will send our form data. So let's type form data, and in the third parameter we have to send the header. So let's send the header as well. So let's type headers, and for the headers we will send the content type, which would be multi-part form data. So let's type content type and let's say multi-parts form data. Now for the errors, let's type here console dot error, and in here let's display our error, and let's type there was an error submitting the form, and let's output our error. Let's move our try and catch block also outside of our for each loop. Let's cut it from here and paste it outside our for each loop. So this is our for each and it ends here. Let's paste it in here. Now let's go and add our submit button also after in here. So let's type and create a new button. So button type is equal to submit, and let's give him a class name of btn success and margin left of 2. Then let's type here submit. Now let's go to our browser. Let's refresh in here. Let's add some rows. Now let's fill them. So I'm going to use a fake filler. So I have added all of them. Now let's choose some attachments in here. So let's add this file and also this one for this one also. Now let's open our inspect network tab and click the submit button. So now let's click here. As you guys can see, my product has been added successfully. So this is it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed the video and like the video. If you have any questions, write it down in the comment, and don't forget to press the subscribe and like button. See you guys in the next video.